Well, here we are back for another year then. Happy New Year to everybody. I know I'm a little bit late in doing that. You know, things have got in the way as they do over Christmas time. Today I'm going to do a review. It's a bit of a strange review if I'm being honest. And by default it means I'm also going to be reviewing an oil pastel pad. Which will be the Pentel oil pastel pad, which is probably something most people haven't actually heard of. I've only ever seen one, and I'll show you that in a minute. So before we go any further, please subscribe if you like what you see, and please like the video and please comment. All them things help this channel to move forward. I've gone well over 2,000 subscribers now, and I'm heading strongly towards 3,000 when I will be telling you one of my favourite techniques, which comes right at the end of a painting as it happens, and that's for oil pastels. I'd just like to say I've also seen a YouTuber who's an artist, and a very good artist I have to say, that is giving up YouTube, and it's because she doesn't just do oil painting, she does numerous types of mediums just in the same way I do. And she found that she wasn't getting some traction on certain videos, and it wasn't helping her channel, because obviously she wants to share her knowledge like I do to everybody, to get you inspired or aspired into different mediums. So if you do see a video, all these things, they've got all crossover points, all these mediums, and please comment. Comments mean a hell of a lot. And don't forget that I have memberships too. Please look into memberships, and you can do super thanks if you like a particular video. It's just a tip, isn't it? So thank you for that if you do that. I've had some and very thankful for them, I can tell you. So here we are. What am I going to show you today? I'm going to show you these. These are the Noor Gioconda set of 24 oil pastels. To my knowledge, they only do a set of 24, and these are one of the most expensive oil pastels on the market. Well, I say one of the most expensive. They're top of the middling range of prices, but pushing into that top area. So let's have a look and see if these are actually worth the money that they're asking. Now, this particular set I didn't buy brand new. You can get them off Amazon in the UK, I do know. And they're about £22 for this set of 24, which is quite expensive in my opinion. But I bought these second-hand, brand new second-hand, but I only paid a £5 for them. And before I came on screen, I had to take some particular steps to make these work. I did a swatch of them, and it's that blue and green there. And they wouldn't blend. Now, it's because they were in my cold studio and the heating had gone off, the electric had gone off for heaven knows how long, probably a couple of weeks, and they'd got cold and they'd gone really hard. So I've had them indoors for an hour or two now to soften them up, hopefully, to see what they will be like at proper room temperature, to give them a proper and fair review. But let's have a look at these colours. This is standard all through here, quite nice, like the greens. We have a dark green there. There's a little bit of oil residue on them, which isn't surprising. These are nice colours. And then you get into some sort of like brighter greens here. I can't say I'm overly keen on these three greens. That one's not too bad. Sorry, two greens. That one's not too bad. The pink, well, I don't probably use that much of that type of colour. But then you get greys and blues. Dark brown, that is, even though it looks black, but you can see it's brown if you really look. There's another blue here. That's quite a nice purple, and that's a lovely brown. So it's not too bad a range. But what you want to know is, how do these work and how do they blend? So what I'm going to do, when I said this is unusual, I'm going to start using this Oil Pastels drawing pad to do all of my reviews on now. I've been trying to find just random pieces of paper that are suitable, but I have a lot of these pads that I bought for workshops, and I have a lot of the pastels that go with them. So I thought it might be a good idea for me to just slip away one of them to do reviews on and keep them all into one place, hopefully. So what you have here is quite an unusual pad. It's 200 GSM and it's 10 sheets of quality paper, it says, and it's made in Swindon, Wiltshire in the UK. And that's unusual in itself because Pentel is in Japan, isn't it, I believe? Or China? Japan, I believe. But it's a long, thin pad. Now, if I compare this pad that I've done these acrylic and swatches on, that's the kind of normal size pad you'd get. Maybe a little bit shorter. But this one's long and thin. And I just find that's quite unusual. I don't really get it, if I'm being honest. I would have thought it would have been better being a little bit wider, up to here perhaps. But there we go, that's what they've done, and there's nothing I can do about that. So, let's have a swatch, shall we, and see how these blend. As I said, I have had to warm these up in the house for an hour or two. And before I came out, I tested them on an envelope, and they did feel like they were softer. I hope they haven't cooled down too much now. So let's go for the purple like we normally do. And these are definitely on the harder side. I'm pressing reasonably hard there, but they are not flaking and they are coming off nice. They feel quite waxy and they feel quite hard. They feel more of a maybe perhaps a Neo Colour 2 hardness. But it's gone on there nice. Let's get this sapphire blue so you can see the colour. There's a bit of oil on there, look. Oh, that's nice. See, yeah, they do feel softer, but they are hard. And I'm wondering how they're going to layer. They look as if they're layering really well, actually. Let's have another colour. Let's go for something completely different in this red. They actually feel really nice and silky, but hard. I quite like it. I feel like you could probably get a lot of detail with these. I'm pressing reasonably hard. See how they blend. Yeah, I think the softer you get them, the better they're going to blend. But they don't seem as if they're doing too bad. They're not the greatest. And that's probably because of the hardness. But they're okay. In this case, they look quite shiny. They look as if I've burnished them. And in this case, I think maybe using a finger might be the best way. No, maybe not. They are actually quite hard. And I think in this case, you're going to have to use your pastel to blend into each other. So kind of like using them like a coloured pencil. I'm going to zoom in so you can see this a bit better. You can see, but there's quite a lot of shininess in here. They're kind of reminding me of a wax pencil, which is not a bad thing. It's different, and it might give you options. I am curious to see whether these will blend over the top of a soft oil pastel. So I'm going to get a Montmartre signature. I'm going to lay that down. See, that's a lot softer. And I'm going to see if these harder oil pastels are going to make lines over the top. They will. Now that's actually quite good. They're laying over the top really, really nice. Oh wow, I'm quite impressed with that. So that's unusual in itself, because usually a hard pastel will just bite into the pastels that are underneath it, but you put them on top of a softer oil pastel and you're getting a beautiful blend. Let's see if the white goes over, shall we? It goes over itself, but it's not great. They blend better on top of a softer oil pastel than they do on top of themselves, which is unusual. Yeah, they definitely blend, and they are hard. more like a crayon type feel, more like a Neocolor 2 type feel in fact, and they have a definite shine to them. Once see, look, that white, I can't even blend that out, but I can on top of a softer oil pastel. So my advice with these, if you did use them, and I think they're going to be worth their weight in gold in certain situations for blending, is to lay a softer, which is a reverse of what normally happens, a softer oil pastel underneath, then lay some of this colour on top. It won't spread overly, but once you start blending it, you'll get nice soft transitions like this. So that's really worth quite a lot. It's just a shame that there isn't a bigger colour range. But I can't say that you'll be overly using them than that much. It's unusual, very unusual. And they do layer on top of each other, but you get sharper lines. And not such a good blend as what you would over the top of a softer oil pastel, which is unusual. So let's see if we can put another colour on top of that, shall we? Let's get this yellow. See, really, you're only looking at a couple of layers, just like the Pentels, but the Pentels don't go on top of other oil pastels that well, but these do. So that's kind of another string to your bow, isn't it? It's a case of you can use something to have a more controlled additional layer to it. If you wanted something with a small amount of shading in it, instead of getting a big clumpy oil pastel and putting on too much and too soft, you could then use one of them and get a sharper, more detailed look. And you can use that for sharp details as well. So yeah, I mean, what can I say about them? They're not soft. They're probably one of the hardest oil pastels I've come across, but they are very blendable with other oil pastels, not with themselves, which is unusual, isn't it? So if you're going to use them by themselves, use them, but use them like a coloured pencil. If you're going to use them with other oil pastels, you can use them to put details on top, straight lines, curves, anything like that. And you can also use them to put a bit more controlled colour onto your top of your oil pastel to blend in. So it's worth its weight in gold for that. Now, with regards to this paper, it's got a nice texture. Not too harsh, a little bit more textured, I would say, than the Sennelier oil pastel paper, and it feels quite smooth and actually felt really nice to work on, which is good. So I think the Pentels will work good on here. I think them Giocondas will work good on here as well. So I would recommend that pastel pad for somebody that was beginning, and maybe we'll see what we can do with a decent picture. So what's my conclusions from that? My conclusions are, as I've already said, the oil pastels, the Gioconda oil pastels, are quite expensive for what they are. They're kind of similar to Pentel oil pastels. However, you can feel the quality is there. They are hard, but they do go on top of softer oil pastels. And if you're going to use them on their own, you would have to treat them like coloured pencils. Maybe not even get quite as many layers as a coloured pencil. It's hard to say. It's kind of like it gives a really pristine second layer on top of other oil pastels and on top of themselves that you can then blend out. But they blend better on a softer oil pastel. It's like you have a soft underground that you can then push the colour around on, which doesn't normally happen because the oil pastels that are hard normally cut into the softer oil pastel and you can't blend it out, but these seem as if they will blend out. They're not flaky. There's a good quality about them. That has to be said, there is a good quality. Are they worth the 20 quid? Well, yeah, they are. However, I'd like to see them under £20 if I'm being honest. But I think they're going to be worth their weight in gold in certain circumstances, and you would have to work that out for yourself with the pictures you do. So play around with them, blend them into other oil pastels, layer them on top, layer other oil pastels on top of them, because they would make a very good base colour you can then blend on top of. So there is scope there for some very good work with these. I think they will work better with other oil pastels though. The Pentel oil pastel pad, that's well worth its weight in gold, and it's well worth the money because it's only about £3 or £4 for a pad of that, and it's a very, very good paper to begin with. It's kind of got like this matte type finish. It's not silky like the Sennelier oil pastel pad is. It's a bit more matte, a bit cheaper probably, but that actually lends itself really well to these oil pastels. So that's my review. I hope somewhere along the line you've picked up something that will help. And it's quite an unusual review, as in both these things are not vastly well known. And it's a good way to start the new year, isn't it? I hope. This year I hope to do some process pictures. It takes me so long to paint a picture that I actually run out of card space or memory space, and I'm not really sure how people do all that. I'm trying to work out the best way for me to do that, but at some point hopefully I will do some oil pastel ballpoint pens, acrylics, do some process videos. I've already done some, but as you can see it takes so long and you don't always get all what you want. I'm going to have to work it out so I can cut it all up, but the time that takes is quite astronomical if I'm being honest. Anyway, I'm rambling on now. I'm going to see you more in this new year. Hopefully before the end of the year I'll be on 3,000 subscribers, give you that extra tip that I have. And yeah, whomever, wherever you are, please have a great day, a great week and a great year, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.